Journeys within the grey forest. Close your eyes and see what I see. Anyone can close their eyes and imagine things. That isn't what I was striving for. I wanted something deeper. My subconscious decides what is real. Shapes begin to bloom in the center of my vision. They always start as dancing blobs of shifting color, sliding across the surface of my brain, mixing together and pricking at my imagination. The concepts of machines flicker through my mind at this point. The sounds of intricate whirring mechanics and cooling fans echo around me. My senses begin to extend from the black void. I am aware of my body now. I exist, floating in the void. Now there is depth. The blobs of color become shifting liquids, floating through fascinating shades of color. They surround me. If I focus, I am aware of an elusive rhythm. I know this rhythm is important. It exists in everything here, acting as a base. As water is a base to the paint that can form a landscape. I am only aware of this rhythm for a short time before it fades away. Ever present, yet imperceptible, like the beating of my heart. The liquid spreads now, falling and stretching across an invisible surface. Some of the liquid bursts into mist, whirling around me and rising upward, clouding together into an orange sky at twilight. The spreading liquid below me shoots across the rapidly forming landscape. Suddenly, I am aware of the horizon and the stalks of water that seem to grow from the now pearly surface of my world, taking on the shapes of trees and grass, as well as other small plants. Everything begins to shift to its new texture, the colorful liquid becoming stone and dirt. In the space of a few seconds, a world has formed around me. Gravity takes hold. I am suddenly lying on the ground. I close my eyes and let my senses become acute. I can feel the small, rough pebbles digging into the areas of my body that are still skin, the sand and soft dirt between my fingers. But most of all, the piercing silence around me. It is absolute. I open my eyes once again. I am standing now, though I don't remember physically getting up. I am in a forest of gray, dead trees. They are beautiful. I again realize how incredibly silent it all is. No sound breaks it. Not the quiet, skittering sound made by insects, or the soft popping noise created by worms as they teem through the soil. The only thing living that I can see are small patches of lush grass around the bases of every tree and along either side of a narrow path that winds through the gray trees. I describe my movements as graceful. Gravity is perceptible, and yet I feel as if I am nearly weightless as we glide through the trees. My footsteps make no sound that interrupts what I perceive the silence as. Peace. Pure, unadulterated. Curious that I should find such solace surrounded by death. I let myself stand and stare. I ponder, and as I do, directionless whispers of electronic whirring and clicking clockwork begin to resonate around my ears. They disappear when my attention shifts to them. I try to ignore them. The trees are perfectly still. More and more I notice that thick green grass that grows around their bases as new life springs from the endings of others. Some of the taller stalks of grass bloom as I watch. Eternal, senseless peace. That doesn't sound so bad. There are worse fates than endless sleep. Images of fire flicker through my mind. The forest is burning now. Shudder. I dismiss the flames and sever the tendrils of doubt that attempt to creep through my mind. Many of the trees are now charred. I feel heat. I realize that I am unsure as to the exact size and shape of my own body. This doesn't seem to bother me at all. I was never very attached to my body. While physical, I considered it a vessel. It was not me. Much like my names, I did not cherish them either, and in fact, often wished that I didn't have any. And so, here, I was fluid, much like the essence of which this world was created. I traveled onward, through the now somewhat burnt trees, small cracking noises of expanding wood interrupting the silence as the remnants of heat from the small flames that lingered in the hollows and innards of the dry, gray trees. I found myself using hooves. Hooves were the most common, usually on more than 2 legs. Traveling along the path is easy this way. It is still beautiful here, but it is scarred now, blackened somewhat, corrupted by an idea, poisonous. My eyes follow the lines of ash that seem to slither across one of the trees. Anger burns in my belly. In time, the forest will be silent again. Perhaps I will return then. But now, small cracking noises of expanding wood interrupt the peace. They are barely perceptible sounds, but somehow they remind me of the loudest gunshots. They spread discord throughout the leafless branches. But chaos is not always a bad thing, I think to myself. Wings now. The gray forest pulls away.